something I said or did. Those aren't typically what we hear, but we do the actions. Does that make sense? And I talk to teachers about that too. Like a lot of times, especially in elementary and middle, we see a lot of the behaviors, but really what we need to look at, that's what they're showing us. I mean, every behavior has something it's trying to tell you. Okay, so we have to kind of look below it and go, what's really going on? Okay, so it can affect us not just emotionally, but also cognitively and behaviorally. Okay, so some of the emotional symptoms that we see are they feel anxious and uneasy over small things in our head. In our head, it's small. To them, it's huge. They feel like, we mentioned earlier, restless. They're on edge. They're afraid and terrified for no reason. They're jumpy. They require, this is another one. This is a lot of ones we don't know. They require that constant reassurance from others. Do you have that kid that's like, hey mom, does this look okay? Hey mom, do you think that this, should I turn this in? Hey dad, can you watch me do this? Like that constant reassurance, that's anxiety. They also have the cognitive symptoms. They're constant, like I said, they're thinking about that past situation. It is going over and over. Just a really quick thing that I share with my students, especially at night, and some of them over there have probably heard this, but one of the things you can do is you take it from the logical part of your brain to your emotional part of your brain. So we talk about the logical part of your brain. Do y'all know when that finishes developing? You were close, what'd you say?
The prefrontal cortex?
Yeah, the prefrontal cortex. When does it develop? Do y'all know?
At the age of 25.
25, 26, sometimes 27. Right? So that ability to make those decisions, that logical thinking, the A, B, C, D, or if I do X, Y is going to happen. That doesn't develop until our late 20s. Okay, that's why our kids are so impulsive as well, or they make decisions and we're like, what are you doing? I mean, this is my kid, like literally, how many times do I have to ask you to grab your towel to go take a shower? You're 13, right? Come on. But still, that they're not able to make that connection. So one of the things we talk about at night, if they're going constantly over and over, one of the strategies is I'll tell them, try doing a category in alphabetical order. Okay, so what does that mean? Let's say you're doing fruits and vegetables. Okay, so you're laying in bed and you're like, okay, apples, bananas. I can't believe Miss Smith told me that I didn't do my homework today when I did it. Oh, wait. I was on B, C, carrots, D, dates. I wonder if my mom's gonna, wait, E. You see what I'm saying? It gives them a way to go back to where they were. Again, that goes to you're going to the logical part of your brain, not the emotional. The other thing you can do is count backwards by sevens, because that's not something that we normally do. Okay, so again, you're just trying to interact with that logical part of the brain, not the emotional. So that's just a trick you can talk to them about. Again, that worrying about the future, the inability to concentrate or recall that information, and the lack of understanding. They're not understanding because their brain's not present in the moment. We also see the behavioral. They isolate, the inability to stay calm. They can't stay in that one place. We also see this with phones, like Mr. Toth was talking about. I have another presentation on technology and teens and what it does to their brain. It is one of the prime things that leads to anxiety, especially because it is, we will get on that another time, but that dopamine hit is what they're used to. So that's why it's hard when they don't have their phone. That's why they tend to freak out a little bit, because that is their dopamine hit that they're not getting. And they struggle to talk or focus on anyone or anything. Making sure, I had side notes, but I didn't print them out, so I want to make sure I hit everything on that one. Okay. Because now we're going to talk about something that is not very comfortable, and you don't want us probably talking about this a lot, but this is one of the huge things that we see in education as well, is that avoidance, okay? And that is a coping strategy where that person disengages, withdraws, or avoids the situation or the threat. We get numerous phone calls about Johnny does not want to come to school today, still in high school. It's not just an elementary thing, it goes all the way up. That is part of our fight, flight, or freeze, or fawn is another one that we're learning, but that's the flight response. Here's what we need you as a parent and the kiddo to understand is that feels good in the moment. Okay, I have a presentation due. Oh, mom, I all of a sudden have a stomach ache. Okay, they don't go to school. It feels good in that moment. Guess what? They got out of doing the presentation. but the presentation's still gonna be there. Okay, so obviously these are some of the things we avoid, we deny, we will procrastinate. That's another huge one we see in high school. We vent, but we don't seek those solutions, and we seek out distractions, with this one being our number one thing that we seek out a lot of the times. So again, it feels good in that moment, but and this is a hard thing to learn, but we still have to face the real world. Okay, there is going to be a real world one day, and unfortunately, when we go to work and we don't want to go to work because we have a presentation, we still have to show up. So that's the hard balance. Like, we want to support your kid through that, but we also want to prepare them, because we're doing a disservice to them if we're not teaching them the skills that they need when they become a full-on human. So here's a few scenarios. Okay, again, these might sound familiar to you, and I'm not trying to step on any toes, but the teacher assigned Matt to present his school project in front of the class. He avoids the anxiety by avoiding the trigger, so he doesn't want to present. So he fakes a stomach ache, and he doesn't have to go to school that day. Okay. Here's the second situation. Another presentation is asked for by the teacher for their final grade. Once again, we see the anxiety increase as that presentation comes up, and he thinks of another excuse not to do it. Again, he's learned now, and I love the brain, but he's learned a new chemical or a new neural pathway of, ooh, I know how to get out of it. Oh, I know how to get out of it. That's his new neural pathway. So what I would encourage you to do is to ask your teen, is there a way we can reframe those thoughts? Can we maybe identify resources that you didn't realize that you had? Can we talk to them about, okay, this is how it's going to feel. How can we get past that? How can we move on? What are you feeling? I'm feeling anxious. But what is your thought? His thought might be, the sooner I finish my presentation, the sooner I can get it over. Or maybe we can help him get to that thought. Okay? Like, this feels uncomfortable. Acknowledge, I don't want you to deny what they're feeling. This feels really uncomfortable. And I get it. There's certain things that I cannot stand to do, right? I know what that feels like. But I also want to be able to teach my teen, okay, this feels uncomfortable. It is not, I understand you don't want to do it in front of everybody. But the quicker you do it, the quicker you'll be done with it. And also, like, what we try to teach our teens is, it's always going to hang there, right? So, like, then they're worried about it even more. Or if they don't do it, they know it's still coming next week, and so then they're worried about it even that much longer. And that's not good on the nervous system. Let's see. Are there hidden benefits that they didn't think about? Is there another perspective that doesn't involve avoidance? And are there strategies that you could use that involve doing something differently to positively affect the situation? And again, when we have that anxiety and we start to realize it's over the same thing, a lot of times if we don't address it, it starts these patterns of something we call irrational thoughts. As adults, you probably know what those are. But those are the thoughts that come into our head that we know aren't rational, but we still can't do anything about them. Like, oh my gosh, a lot of our high-achieving teens, if I don't ace that, this is some of the way their brains go. If I don't ace that test, I'll never get into college. It's a test. It's not, we're not even talking like SAT. We're talking about like a test in class. Okay, but they go to the extreme. That's their anxiety. Let me see, is there anything else I wanted to hit on that one? A lot of times too, our brain is hardwired, this is interesting too, to see the negative. Okay, so a lot of times your kids are going to automatically go to the negative. They're going to go to the negative with teachers, they're going to go to the negative with their friends, and with you. Okay, and again, it feels good in a moment, but then it just leads to more anxiety. So let's try to teach our teens to approach our anxiety, not avoid it. That's so hard, and I know as a parent you don't want to see your kid feel that way, but if we can start talking about it now, it'll really help when they become, like I said, an actual bigger human. Okay, so approach coping as a coping strategy where they focus and respond to the threat or problem and how to solve it. Let's teach our kids how to be problem solvers. Okay, so identify the problem or the source of your anxiety. Focus on the aspects of the problem that are within your control. And I have some handouts, but last time I did this presentation, nobody came. So I only brought 10 today because I was like, man, if 10 come, that's awesome. But one of the things that I will do is I will have my kids, when they come and they're like overwhelmed, write down everything really quick in one word that's on your plate. What are you worried about? AP test, my girlfriend, Bobby, baseball, laundry, like everything in one word, right? And then what we do is we put in the circle what they can actually control, okay? Because 95% of what we worry about, even as adults, is things we cannot control, okay? And I have to remind myself that every morning when I'm stuck in school traffic. I can't control it, don't go to jail today, okay? So I have to use that all the time as an adult, is I have to focus only on what I can control. Okay, so this is a really good visual for them too. And again, this is some of the things that we don't think about. Okay, so this lists all the things they can control. They can control how they respond. They control if they ask for help. They can control saying, I need a break. They can control how they act. I won't get into all of it, but this really puts a lot of control back to them, which they need. And they need to feel like they have the knowledge and the skills to do it, okay? So again, this is huge. And I always say, can you control your teachers? Because they'll come in and they, obviously they'll have some complaints about their teachers. And some of them, they're completely valid. I get it. Why is your teacher doing that, right? But can you control your teacher? No. Can you control if you ask to talk to them privately? Yes. Can you control if you go to tutorials? Yes. You see what I'm saying? So trying to put it back to what can you control versus what you cannot. Your support system. You guys, this is huge. We also, yesterday, I just did a whole presentation on suicide awareness. And so one of the things that we look at, number one, is your support system. Do you have a good relationship with your kid? If it's hit or miss, do they at least have friends that they can go to? Do they have somebody outside of you too that they can talk to? And then developing the healthier lifestyle habits and routines, facing your fears, applying mindfulness practice, and positive self-talk. Another thing, I think maybe I'm going to make copies, but I'm the type that I want to learn things and have something to take with me. So one of the things about mindfulness that we do is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Have y'all ever heard of that? Okay, y'all are like, nope. So, and again, mindfulness is one of the, I'm not saying we're going to sit and that's not what we're going to do. But when I say being mindful, if we're only looking at yesterday, do you know what that could lead to? If you're only looking in the rearview mirror, what could that lead to? Depression. Worry. Okay, depression. If you're only looking forward and you're thinking about, oh my gosh, what do I have tomorrow? What can that lead to? Anxiety. Right. The only time that you're not before or after is in the moment, in mindfulness. So a lot of times when my kids come in and they're hyperventilating, I'm like, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's 5 things you can see? I can see your clock. I can see your. And they start going down to the 5 things they can see. Okay, what are the 4 things you can feel? And they have to give me an adjective. I feel the softness of my sweater. Okay, what else do you feel? I feel the coarseness of my jeans. Okay, what else do you feel? The smoothness of the table. Okay, so 4 things. That's the 4. 3, what do you hear? They're always like, I hear you. That counts, that counts. And I always have music playing, so I hear your music. And I hear whatever. That's 3. The 2 is what can you smell? Okay, and if they say I don't smell anything, have them smell their shirt. Most of you wear laundry detergent. They can smell it, okay? They can smell their hair. If they're boys, my gosh, their axe. The whole world can smell that, but there's smells. And then the last one is what do they taste? And if they're like, I don't taste anything, that's completely fine. Okay, but in that brief moment, and you just did 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, they're not worried about what you said yesterday, and they're not worried about their test tomorrow. So it's just a quick little one moment that they're not worried about anything else. And it also gets them back to that logical part of their brain. So that's on here if she went to go make you copies, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Quick question.
Yes.
Leaning on your support system or asking for help. And you mentioned about parents' relationship along with the friends, they can talk.
Yes.
Since we moved abroad.
Yes.
One of my friend's daughter, she is in Middle East.
Yes.
She's still missing her, but they are in contact with the Snapchat, and I let them time to talk, and like I don't want like obstruct them. So is with the move stuff, how do you think? Like obviously they have this idea sometimes. How would I get friends? Every day she says, I have 10 more friends. She's so friendly.
Oh, yeah, that's
But-
awesome.
But she still has some anxiety. Sometimes she says, please, like you don't need to feel nervous about it. You're making all new friends, but you will still keep your old friends, like the
Yeah.
nursery rhymes.
Yeah.
Because now you guys have technology. You guys are like able to see who
Good morning,
is
well,
where.
that's effectively stand for
You
our
can keep talking, I was just gonna see if there's a way to turn it down. Is there a way to turn it?
So.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it
I'm
stands,
listening, I'm sorry.
one nation, under God, indivisible,
No,
with
that's
liberty
not
and
right.
justice for all.
So how we
Now, for the
manage
Texas
like-
pledge, honor the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. Please remain standing for a moment of silence.
They are keep interacting, and she's paying more attention to her academics. I know.
Right.
Is this a good thing, or is it not a good thing?
No, I think, I mean, again, and
Initially-
she's lucky because not everybody has several friends, okay? So, I mean, as a parent,
When
yeah,
she talks to me, okay, if you don't have any friends, like the first day in Texas over here,
Yes.
if you don't have any friends, I'm your friend. So,
yes. Let's see, and that's good. I will tell my daughter I'm not her friend.
And sometimes sometimes when you come to a new place, like from my son's experience, when you go into such a big school and you've come from a different environment, you make a lot of friends, but over time, say a month's time or 2 months time, you find one friend of few friends with whom you can
Our first chapter meeting of this school year, so there's a meeting in 11:19.
Yeah, and it's a good
And there will be another one during growth time, and it's about, all members must attend, and you can email Ms. Brown if you have any questions. On Thursday, September 5th, SBA is hosting a leadership interest meeting during growth time, every 12.
And we also did the New to Prosper. I did try the groups, and I will tell you it was kind of funny because I went to go give the kids passes that actually signed up for it, and they were like, "What?"
Code is
I
excited
was
to
like,
announce that the 10.
"Oh, your parents signed you up, didn't they?" Yes. And I was like,
Our long
And
weekend
now
on
it's hard, like
Wednesday,
even in
September
the school,
4th.
they have
We
really
stocked
so
it up
many
with snacks, candy,
Yeah.
drinks, and ice cream just for you. So come on down and check it out. Hope to see you Wednesday, next Wednesday. Taking a business class, interested in joining a fun, energetic, competitive business club, join us Wednesday, September 4th.
But she's blessed, that's awesome that she's been able to make those connections, but I will say at Walnut Grove, we're really good about trying our best to get everybody connected.
And hope to see you there.
I think she's good, right? Yeah, I think they're right now. Where I would worry is if you notice your kid is not connecting at all, and we, you know, we do, I'm not saying they have to have tons of friends, they don't, but we want them to have at least one person they can go to, besides you, right? They need to have somebody that is around their age that they can talk to.
We're gonna start that about top 45, recognize all of our seniors. Like I said, we have a ton of people there, so just make sure you get there early, and I sent you guys out the seating chart for the student section is gonna be, so make sure that you check that out.
Yeah.
You know where all the Wildcats are gonna be.
Yeah.
And today, our Wildcats are active, so our volleyball team travels to Austin.
That's a great question. I don't think they have to be in the same
Lose the
place.
tournament.
No, and that connection that they're gonna have, hopefully they'll have the rest of their life. So no, they don't necessarily have to have here. You just wanna make sure that they have a support system that's not just you.
Will be here, so good luck to all of you guys. that are
And so really quick, what do you
And we got
do?
one
Listen,
shout out to Miss
that's the biggest thing. It is easy to dismiss, and it's, and I'm guilty of this as well. But I try really hard to listen, and when my kiddo's talking to me,
School expectations to be prompt, prepared, productive, and
I ask, am I listening or am I giving you advice? That's what I ask, because my go-to is I want to give advice, and then she's like, Mom, I'm just trying to tell you something. So I always ask, am I listening? Or I'll ask, can I coach you? Can I coach you on this one? And 9 times out of 10 she'll say no, but sometimes she'll say what? So, but look for patterns. Help develop those coping skills. I can't teach that enough because what we see a lot of times is those negative coping skills. And what do we see? The number one that we're starting to see, obviously, that we've been seeing is vaping. Okay, a lot of our kids self-harm. Those are those negative coping skills that they go to. So teach that resiliency, teach positive self-talk, and model self-care. That's another huge one. One of the very first things I ask my kids is, all right, what does your sleep schedule look like? I know you don't want to hear this. What is your physical activity look like? I'm not saying you have to work out 45 minutes a day, but do you at least do something for 10 minutes a day? Something. What are we eating? And again, and they usually tune me out. But so as a parent, model that and the self-talk as well. And again, be open with talking about your own struggles. And I am not calling you out, but men, I'm going to say this too. Please, you have no idea your impact of just saying, hey buddy, I get it. I had a rough day today at work too. You know what? Like when I came home, all I wanted to do was sit. Just tell them that it's okay. I'm not saying that you have to sit down and just shed all the tears with them, but show them that you have those thoughts too. You know, one of the, like I said, I have private practice and I see a 15-year-old and I was talking to him about his grandfather died and his parents were worried because he wasn't showing any emotion. So it took me like 6 months to finally get in and I was like, what would anger look like? And he was like, I don't even know. And I was like, okay, well, how does your dad show it? He's like, I've never seen him cry. And so then as I dove in, I realized that like he actually, in his mind, him showing no affect or no emotion at all, he thought he was doing what his dad wanted him to do. And he thought, like, he was like, and if I cry, then my dad's gonna be like, why are you crying? So there's so much power as men, especially, of just being vulnerable. Okay, I'll just throw that out there. And then help your teens find purpose and meaning through service and community programs. We've got to get our kids outside of ourselves. This area is really good about that, but that's something else too. It's not just about us. I went really fast because I wanted to honor your time, and I will be doing some type of presentation after every coffee counselor or principal. So next time, feel free to stay after. I already have the whole technology and teen one, so we may just talk about that one. I don't know. But also fill out the needs assessments when you get those. Dr. Herbo, do you know when those will be?
They went out yesterday.
Oh, perfect timing. They went out yesterday. Be honest in those, because that can help me kind of guide what we talk about as well. Are there any last minute? Yes.
Can we get?
Yes. I don't know how we're going to do it, but he said we are, so I will figure it out how to send it to everyone.
I mean, just the presentation.
Oh, yeah,
itself.
yeah, yeah. Yes.
Also, I think most of you must have seen the movie, but I saw Inside Out 2 with my kids. I didn't want to go, but I just happened to go, and I think it's a great movie for us adults to
No,
watch.
It's brilliant.
Because it talks about anxiety, and I think all the kids, especially teenagers, if they've not seen it, and their parents should really watch that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My
Oh.
14-year-old her and I are laughing
Yeah.
together because it's like I see so much
So much of
me,
them,
so much of her.
absolutely.
And then my 12-year